Night in the Caribbean. On Venezuelan scopes, one big contact, easy prey. They accelerate in arrowhead, refining spacing, pushing toward 40 knots. On the Ford's bridge, no panic. Hold course, hold speed. Thomas Hudner slides center line, a textbook soft block. Two MH-60R Seahawks trace quiet circles, infrared locked. At 1,000 yards, the gray zone arrives. Bow angles twitch. A Mark 45 turret whispers a few degrees. CIWS enters passive track. No words on the radio. Speed drops. Low 20s, then approximately 18. The boats widen and fade. Presence wins, not firepower. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. How does a full carrier strike group shrink to one fat smear on a foreign scope? Start with the screen. The Venezuelan console glows green in a humid, blacked-out cabin. 6 fast patrol boats run dark on a night sea. Engines trimmed high, crews strapped into seats, heads bent to displays. Their JY-11B shows a single swollen return about 10 miles ahead, distant from clutter, moving steady. It reads like an isolated destroyer, a prize target with room to maneuver. No escort echoes appear. No companion tracks bloom at the edges. One blip, oversized and oddly confident. The flaw hides in the physics. Sea state throws back a forest of reflections. Waves scatter energy that should paint edges. Side lobes leak power into angles a narrow beam never meant to touch. The processor tries to help and makes it worse. Track while scan looks for persistence, continuity, and velocity correlation, then fuses nearby flickers into one stable track. In close formation, multiple strong returns overlap inside one resolution cell. The algorithm rewards stability, so it collapses a group into a single truth target. That single target becomes the plan. Orders run simple: close, identify, compel. The 6 boats spread into an arrowhead. 25 meters between hulls, then 30, then 40 as speed rises. The lead rides the point, 2 wingmen offset by a few degrees of bearing. The rear pair ready to slant in and box. Throttles push toward 40 knots. Wake lines stretch thin and bright. Every man glances between the sea and the scope. The big blip doesn't split. It holds course. It looks stubborn. This isn't rare. Small sensors often merge nearby contacts in coastal waters. Legacy coastal radars struggle in heavy reflection zones where land, buoys, and wave tops throw off ghost echoes and smear targets that sail tight. When ships hold a disciplined line with minimal lateral separation, older processors over-associate the dots. The operator sees a rock-solid hulk that isn't there. In literal chop, that error shows up more often than crews like to admit. Visuals don't clear it. Night eats contrast. Our scopes help but still bow to range, angle, and background. A hot exhaust looks like a comet at one moment and vanishes at the next when the target turns shallow aspect. Sea spray masks signatures. The boats get flashes of heat and think they're seeing a single stack and a single plume. The radar story wins the argument. Command calculus flows from that picture. 6 against 1 is a good bet if you can get close. International waters add legal cover for a hard intercept, not a strike. Push fast, force a yield, then broadcast the contact as non-compliant if it refuses to alter course. Speed and numbers carry weight when you believe the other side is alone. The helmsmen hold to the bearing line. The formation steadies. The boats step through 30 knots, then 35. Except the one ahead carries more than metal. It holds a flying deck, escorts, and a watch team that treats geometry like a language. Above them, sensors knit a quiet map that isn't fooled by reflections. The carrier keeps a steady course. The escorts frame it. Every mile the boats burn down pulls them deeper into layers they can't see. On the Venezuelan screen, the fat return stays one track, and that locks the course of action. The intercept becomes a commitment. The risk grows because the picture lies. Now the counter begins without a word. Not with flashes or thunder, but with placement, hull against heading, where angles and distance speak louder than any radio call. If you can't shout or shoot, how do you stop 6 fast boats closing at speed? The American side answers with posture, not volume. The SPY-6 sits in a low-emission presence mode, listening more than speaking. The combat team keeps the carrier's spine straight and quiet. 2 MH-60R Seahawks orbit the big deck in lazy, constant circles. their infrared eyes never blinking. Every wake curl, every bow twitch, streams back to consoles that care about angles more than words. They are not hiding. They are choosing how to be seen. A formal freedom of navigation call goes out, and then the radios go cold. No back and forth, no argument to inflame tempers. Range ticks down while engine notes from the patrol boats climb. Seconds matter now. The helos tighten their patterns, handing off tracks so no segment of the approach goes uncovered. The ops room rides that feed, marking subtle drifts in bearing as the boats press toward the 1,000-yard band where decisions can't wait. Then the destroyer makes the play. USS Thomas Hudner eases off her escort line and slides onto the intercept center line. No horn, no sudden throttle blast, just a deliberate drift that narrows the corridor in front of the carrier until the gap looks thin and costly. It's the soft block. A hull placed like a door jamb. Keep coming, and you must break formation to squeeze through or hold course and accept a near miss. You can't explain later. The geometry does the talking. There's a psychology to this. The carrier group refuses to flinch. Course and speed stay exact. A message that the lane is set and not up for barter. Weapons stay quiet in status, but not asleep. The presence says, "We see you, we're steady, and we won't be penned in." It pushes the burden of change to the other side without trading insults or threats on an open channel. Small cues carry weight at this range. The Mark 45 on Hudner doesn't bark. It nudges a few degrees toward the oncoming wakes. The close-in weapon system clicks into a passive track, spinning up sensors, not barrels. These adjustments are visible enough to register without crossing the line into provocation. They translate into readiness the way a referee's whistle does. Everyone hears it. Nobody bleeds. Overhead, the Seahawk stitch an unbroken IR picture. Heat blooms mark engines working hard, then softening. Wake geometry shows intent before helmsmen admit it. When a boat shifts from a knifing V to a fatter fan of foam, it's easing. When a bow angle drifts 2 degrees outward and holds for 20 seconds, that's not spray, that's doubt. Those threads flow into the combat systems, which update the blockade line by inches, keeping the door firm without slamming it. The inflection comes quiet. Speed traces that lived in the high 20s sag to the low 20s. A few beats later, the numbers hover at 18. The arrowhead relaxes. Wingmen slide out to keep room. The lead boat trims throttle to keep a cushion that wasn't there a minute ago. The path through the middle no longer looks like dominance. It looks like risk with witnesses. And that's the payoff. The soft block, backed by watchful sensors and a carrier that refuses to dance to someone else's tempo, bleeds the rush out of the approach. No warning shots, no collisions. The boats taper off because the water ahead is controlled, and the cost of forcing it is obvious. What that reveals matters beyond one night. Presence tied to law and restraint tied to control. Keep a lid on fights that start with bad screens and fast engines. The lesson spreads with every intercept logged and every track replayed in a briefing room where crews learn how to hold water without lighting the match. In the gray zone, angles and bearing decide outcomes. When sensors lie, disciplined geometry still tells the truth. A steady course, a placed hull, and quiet systems can drain momentum from speed and noise without touching a trigger. The soft block by USS Thomas Hudner showed that control beats volume. If you want more breakdowns of tactics that prevent wars without firing, subscribe and tell us which maneuver you want decoded next. Drop your pick in the comments. Crossing the T, creeping lines, or air wing bubbles. Presence carried more weight than words here. What other standoffs turned because a single screen told the wrong story?